One of these days I'm gonna have it figured out. One of these days I'm gonna have it figured out. One of these days I'm gonna have it figured out, and things would be great. Okay, let's get started. So today I want to talk about WebdriverIO's element, not element screenshot, just WebdriverIO screenshot. So wdio screenshot. Oh wow, my typing is awful. Let's see. Okay, so we got wdio screenshot, and I've been doing a lot of work on this course lately in the past couple weeks, and it covers WebDriver CSS. And WebDriver CSS is pretty cool, but it looks like it's not going to continue being updated, which is just fine. I mean, it's kind of lived its life and has had a good run at it, and we're just gonna put it to sleep nice and kindly. But as an alternative, we're gonna take a look at WebdriverIO screenshot and how we can use that as a replacement for WebDriver CSS. If you aren't familiar with WebdriverIO, since this is a Twitch stream, I may get a couple new followers. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'm probably going to have the same folks as ever, which is just fine with me. I'm happy to have you all there. But for anybody who might be new to this, WebdriverIO is a Selenium binding for Node.js. Basically, it speaks to Selenium servers and will do functional automation for you. So it'll help you. Yeah, that doesn't help explain it at all. It's going to help you test websites. That's what it does. It tests websites. Oh, I need a transition so you can see me. I'm still trying to learn some things. Okay, so I can get rid of that. Awesome. Okay. I've got some plants growing here. You can't see them too well, but they are growing. I got this. This is called a peace lily right there. Don't care about it, but I got to fill some time, folks, because this might be a little bit fast today. Anyway, WebdriverIO, cool little tool. If you haven't used it, you go to a website, you do some things to it, then you do some assertions to make sure that the website is as you expect. So one thing that we want to try out is I want to take a screenshot of the page and compare it to the previous screenshot. So that's what I'm going to do today using wdio screenshot. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to move my terminal, which is actually more difficult than you would imagine it to be. Okay, I'm going to go there. So I got my terminal, and then I've got this WebdriverIO screenshot. In it, I've actually done a little bit of work already to get everything set up, and it is going for now. So to set it up, I just set up my node modules, I set up my configuration file, and then I actually took some shots and set up a test. And so let's go ahead and look at that configuration file right now. Let's see. So I'll open that up. Basic stuff, you have your specs, you have your capabilities here with Chrome. Everything is pretty much set, but I am testing my visual regression testing page. So I'm going to jump over to that to show you what that looks like. It's just a header, subscribe now. And what this is a 6-day intro into WebDriver CSS. And I may update it after all of this is done to cover whatever it is that is next after WebDriver CSS. But for now, WebDriver CSS is a good intro for folks who want to get started with visual regression testing. And so that's what's going on there. Okay, so I've got a sign up form where you just enter your email address and you get 6 free lessons on WebDriver CSS and WebdriverIO. So I'm going to test this page today. And the plugin I'm going to use is WebdriverIO Screenshot. It's not a service, it's a plugin. There's a little bit of difference between the two. Let's see if I can find my services. There's my services. There are my plugins. So those are different. I'm not really sure how they're different, but I know that they're hooked in differently. Unlike plugins, they don't add new commands. Instead, they hook themselves up into the test process. Okay, so that makes sense that plugins wouldn't, WebdriverIO Screenshot would need to be a plugin and not a service, because WebdriverIO adds some new commands, one of them being save element screenshot. So if I jump back over to WebdriverIO screenshot, you see it adds 3 new commands: save viewport screenshot, save document screenshot, and save element screenshot. The one that I'm really focused on is save element screenshot because I want to narrow down the screenshots that I take down to a single element or a group of elements. I don't really care about the viewport or the document, although those could be helpful in other places. This is similar to WebDriver CSS in that it has the exclude and hide and remove options, but exclude isn't implemented yet. That's all right because remove or hide should work just as well as exclude. Hide would basically replace exclude for you. One other nice thing about this tool is that it can use graphics magic if you have it installed, but without it installed, you can use GIMP, which is a Node.js image processing library. So I know in the past I've had issues, and folks I know who have had issues with installing graphics magic. And so being able to have a fallback in there that's pure Node.js is really helpful for that that scenario. So the way you use it, you just install it, and then in your plugins, you add wdio-screenshot in there. I don't know if you can pass any options in here. And then you just use it, browser save viewport screenshot, save document screenshot, or save element screenshot. And then I'm trying to think, you pass in the file name. And if you don't pass this in, it's going to return a base64 string. And then you pass in the element selector for using save element selector or save element screenshot. You pass in the CSS selector or whatever selector you want, and then your options if you want to hide or remove anything like that. So how it looks in an actual test is like this. So we've got save element screenshot. So we're going to go to the home page. We're going to take a screenshot of the header title. We're going to save that as file name. I'm actually going to change this to header. This was all just testing stuff. And then I'm also going to throw this in the shots directory so that they're all saved in one directory. And so I've got header title, and then I've got the MailChimp signup area. I'll set the value on it to be test@example.com, and then I'll take a second screenshot. So this might look a little bit familiar to those who have used WebDriver CSS in the past. One thing is that I don't think you can do multiple selectors for elements. It looks like it's just one single selector that you use for that. So that's how that works. So let's go ahead and run it. I don't need to start a Selenium server because when I run npm test, I'm using the Selenium standalone service. I'm going to remove my shots directory because I want to start fresh, and then I'm going to run npm test and get that going. So let's see how that runs. So we have a passing test, which doesn't really mean that it's passing. It just means that it didn't run into an error. So I'm going to pull up these images for you in just a second. Just got to get to the right location. Screenshot, and then I'm going to convert it over to that. And error shots actually has some stuff in it because I messed up a couple times, but this one passed. So if I go into my shots directory, I'm going to see 3 images: my header, my signup field, and my signup. This is actually all you need to do to make visual regression testing work inside of WebdriverIO. You just save element screenshots, and then the next time you go in and something has changed, so I can do broke.html. So let's see. Assuming that you have a Git repo, so I'll go ahead and git initialize this, git add it, and then commit initial commit. Let's see what it added. it did added my error shots. I didn't really want to do that. And then I have these other test files that I want to get rid of. But yeah, oh well. So I'm going to change the URL to broke.html, which is a version of the visual regression testing page that is a little bit different. So up here it says stop playing, spot the difference every time you update your website. And down here it says start playing, and then see that we've got an expensive ebook companion. This one is missing its icon, and I think there's something else in here that changed somewhere along the way. So just a couple differences that we can check out and test out that there are differences. So I've got a clean Git repo, and then I'm going to run npm test. And I'm going to cross my fingers that this works, because I've kind of assumed that it works, but I may not be correct of that. Okay, so it's testing the new page. It's taking new screenshots, and if I hit get status, okay, so I've got some updated screenshots. Get diff isn't actually going to do anything because they're all binary files. But here, at least I know that these screenshots have been updated, all of these. And I wonder if these have actually been updated. That's the next part of this, is to figure out how to run a decent diff on these screenshots. So let's see. I'm just trying to figure out if this screenshot here actually broke, or if it says that it's changed but it actually hasn't because of other things. So I'm going to do a git stash, and then I'm going to come into GitHub and see if I'm logged in. I'm not logged in. On my other tab, I'm going to log into GitHub. I'm going to create a new repo that's going to be called WebdriverIO Screenshot, and then I'm going to upload and submit a pull request when I get to there. So let's create that repo on my other screen. I will add an origin. And then I'm going to push it up. So I had stashed away those screenshot changes. I'm going to check out a branch so that I can add a pull request into my GitHub repo. And I'm going to call it just test. And then I'm going to pop my stash out, add it, commit it, new screenshots, and then push it up. These are all aliases that I have: GP, GA, GC. Those are all aliases. So now I should have a test branch on my repo. Bring it over. So here's my repo, and then I can compare and pull request. So my new screenshots, and let's see how GitHub handles these new screenshots. So 3 files changed. And then I've got my 2 screenshots side by side. And what's cool about GitHub is that you can swipe between the two. So you can see here, here's the difference. What's onion skin do? Oh yeah, so you can see the difference between the two. So stop changes to start. That's what happens there. And let's see if there's any actual differences here. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any actual differences. So I think what Git does is when you take that second screenshot, it doesn't care that they're pretty much the same. It sees that the file has changed and shows that they're different. So, you know, poor man's solution, this would work in that you would just have to go through each screenshot and check to see that it doesn't actually change between the two in your Git repo. But I think we could do better than that. And I think that's what the meat of today will be about, is figuring out how to be a little bit better about these differences. So I'm going to get into that. And to do that, I'm going to jump into npm and switch over, or not switch over, look at blink diff, which I was looking at a little bit earlier, but this is basically an image comparison tool. And installation is pretty basic. You just run npm install blink diff, and I actually have already done that. And then we can use it inside of the file by, let's see, jump back here, and then diff require blink diff. Okay, let's see how that goes. And then, so if I don't pass in a value here, if I pass in null, it should return the image stream to me. And then the hope is to use blink diff to create a comparison of those two. So let's see, new diff. And then image A path, image B path. I think I can pass in image A a buffer instance. That's what it is. It's not a stream. It's called a buffer. I get those mixed up. So image B. So I would want image A path to equal shots header, and then image B to be my image buffer. And then I'm just going to skip all this for now. And let's see if there's anything else. Defines the path to the output file. And this feature is turned off. So output, it will create a diff between the two, which is kind of helpful if you want to look at the difference. We may get into that into a little bit, but for now, all I want to do is get the value of that diff back. So let's try this out and see what gets logged out. So I should get a buffer stream when this first runs. And it can't find the module blink diff. I thought I had installed it before this. Maybe node modules. Let's see if it's in there. Maybe it's lowercase. Blink diff, so it's in there. I think it needs to be lowercase. And maybe with a dash. You know, in the instructions, it doesn't actually say in here how to require it. No, it doesn't. So I'm going to go with it being lowercase with a dash and hope this works. I'm still working on figuring out how to get music piped to the stream. It would have to be copyright free, of course, but in the meantime, you get to hear me sing. Path must be a string, receive null. So in line 7, it says that path must be a string, which is weird because I was looking at this repo earlier and it didn't seem like it needed to be a string. If I go into source and then commands, I've got save element screenshot. And inside of here, if the file name is undefined, maybe it needs to be undefined. Then it's going to save if it's not undefined, then save it. Otherwise, return it. Does not equal undefined. So what happens if I pass undefined? That's weird. That's weird. So I guess if it equals null, it actually tries to save it. Image stream is not defined. Well, what's image stream? That's inside of line 9. Oh, well, why am I trying to load console log image stream? I don't know. But it at least made it past line 7. I've been recording these on YouTube before, and I think what I'm going to do is stream these on Twitch, but I've got a recording of these going in the background, and I'm going to kind of cut them down just a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I'm going to cut them down and load them up on YouTube for anybody who wants to watch this after the fact. So because I average about 1 or 2 viewers in my live stream, which I know is really impressive. Here's my image buffer that is there, and then my comparison is here. So I've got different things. Let's see. I thought there was a results in here somewhere. Could have sworn there was a results when I went in here. What I want to do is get the information out of, oh, diff.run. So it didn't actually run it. I have to run it myself. That's going to be fun. I'm going to get the results from my diff and see if I can use those to programmatically assert whether it's passed or failed. The only issue with this is that it is a callback, and I don't know how this is going to interact with the WebdriverIO code, but I can get rid of these logs. I'm going to try running these. Maybe I can return it. I don't know. I just don't know. So diff has passed, failed. So it should fail because it's trying to take a screenshot of the header and isn't able to. And then that's what my diff is. So let's try that out. Anyway, as I was saying, I get like 1 viewer, which is fantastic. I really appreciate you 1 viewer. You're fantastic and make all the difference. But it would be nice to have this for posterity for the other viewer who wants to see the rest, who wants to see this but isn't able to join right at the time. Image B get width is not a function. So image B is here. Looks like there's something wrong with image, that it's having an issue. Blink diff. See where is that being called from? That's tough to understand what's going on. So I'm gonna comment this out and log that image again, and let's see what comes from that. And please do comment in the chat room if you have any questions. It doesn't have to be related to WebdriverIO Screenshot. It could be anything, and I'm happy to jump in and see. I had somebody ask me about Vue.js and if WebdriverIO works with Vue.js, and I think it does. I haven't actually tested it, but I don't see necessarily a reason why it wouldn't work with Vue.js or something like React. The elements, the HTML changes pretty constantly, at least with React. So that could be a little bit tricky, especially if you're using a browser element command. But I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work. So questions like that, I'm more than happy to answer, and I kind of want to make this a little bit more feedback oriented. So you come in, you ask a question, maybe there's something that you were working on all day and had trouble with, and I could hopefully help out with. At least I can take a look at it. Usually my best help is just listening to somebody talk it out and then figure it out themselves. But anyway, back to this. So I just want to make sure that my image stream was correct. So it looks like it is. I logged that out. And then when I do diff.run, this is where the trouble is, because it's saying that image B is whatever it was. Image B is not an image or something. What was it that said it? Image B.getWidth is not a function. Which is weird because I'm passing in image and I logged out image and that works. So let's see if undefined got saved out. So I didn't get undefined saved out, although here it is. So it did actually save that file. I wonder if it saves the file and returns the stream. That would be weird, but weirder things have happened. Yeah, so no matter what, it returns the stream. File name is undefined. File name is equal to undefined. This is all the fun of reading through source code and figuring out what's going on. So if file name is a string, or if it's an array, and element selector is an object, and options is undefined, then it's going to set options to element selector. And then element selector to file name. What? If file name is a string, or file name is an array, and element selector is a plain object. So this is checking to see if element selector is actually an object. And it doesn't expect element selector to be an object. It expects it to be a string. So this is saying, okay, if this is an object, then they skipped their file name and they passed in options as an object. And so what we need to do is say element selector is really options, and file name is really the element selector, and then file name is actually undefined. This is also similar. Basically, if it only passes in the element selector, then it's going to set that and then make file name undefined. So that's what we want to do. We don't want to save this file down. So I can just get rid of this entirely and try it out. It probably isn't going to change anything, though. I think it's still going to be the same issue because it returned the stream no matter what, and the stream is what we're passing into image diff. So yeah, it didn't actually change anything. So maybe something is different there. So image b.getWidth is not a function. So let's jump into blink diff and see what we're doing here. Diff.run. We have image A as source image. Use already loaded image. Let's see. So ping read image. So let's see what ping image does. See what it returns. And where does source image come from here? Because I don't see a source image. That's just making stuff up. Maybe error comma source image is what needs to go in there. Let's see what ping image does. Ping image constructor. Let's see, it just sets some options or some properties on the object itself. That's my ping image. And then what was I running on it? Or what were they running? They were running read image. Write image. Here's load image. Where's read image? Oh, it's not in there. Docs, grunt file, package. I'm going to say that this example is out of date. Crazy. Looks a little incorrect and it's out of date. So, yeah. Image A. Okay. Well, let's get back into the documentation. Let's see what image A says. Image A supplies first image. This can be a ping image instance or a buffer instance with PNG data. And what comes back from here? It returns base64 image, which is make element screenshot. So we're going to have to figure out what make element screenshot is. That's in modules make element screenshot. So here, source, modules, make area screenshot. That's not what we want. Make element screenshot. And make element screenshot. So we have a browser, element selector, and options. So what does this return? Okay, so it returns make area screenshot. Man, this makes me so happy, and to see the rabbit trail go down, 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 down. Okay, so I've got here a function called make area screenshot. Does some things, gets the screen dimensions, figures out how to take the screenshot, tries taking the screenshot, do while loop. Here's my base 64 screenshot. So it gets the screenshot value, crops it. What's crop image? That is in the image utils. Then at the very end, it returns merge base screenshot, which is merge images. So that's in utils image. So let's head into there. Utils image index. So here's GIMP and Graphics Magic. It tries to see if Graphics Magic is installed. If not, okay, so it gets crop image and merge images from either Graphics Magic if Graphics Magic is installed, otherwise from GIMP. And I think I have Graphics Magic installed, so merge images should work. How far down this rabbit hole do I want to go? Not that far. What's that? Crop images there, merge images, hey. So what does this do? My goodness. Base 64 screenshot. I have no idea. That is too much. Okay, so new idea, just for now. I'm going to save the screenshot as shot/new. Sure. I don't like this as a final solution because I don't think you should have to manage these two, especially if you're updating, if you need to update these. But for now, I just want to see if I can get this to work here. So basically, I'm going to pass in a path for both of these and see if that works. And I'm probably going to have to get back to this next week. So I take the screenshot, passed, found 0 differences between the two, which is quite surprising considering there are differences between the two, unless, I'll just delete those. Yeah, so I had originally taken the I had taken the screenshot and it just went ahead and overwrote that screenshot. So that's why it wouldn't be any difference. So I'm gonna go back to where I was. You can see this is a little bit fragile, and this is where I think some work can be done to do this automatically for you. But it's going to take the screenshot. It did find some difference. It found a lot of differences, and you see that it failed. So we could use result.code if we wanted to. And really, I just should log that entire thing if diff passed found that many differences. So let's log this entire result object and see what we can get from there. And then I think next week we're going to jump into trying to do an assertion with this so that we fail our test. You see it still says that it's passing even though that it's failed. Okay, so code 1, differences a lot, dimensions, width, height, that's it. Diff has passed. What is diff provide me? Diff run, diff has passed, differences, log. See if I can find has passed in the documentation. I can't, it's not in there. npm run docs, blech. Let's see if there's anything in here. You on GitHub. This is probably all going to be the same. Just wondering what this has passed function does. Find it in there. How about here? Has passed. Index 2. Okay, in index. Has comparison, past result different. So we've got a constant here. Call result different, result unknown, result similar as a code 7, and then identical as code 9. So there's some extra stuff here that we could throw in there. But basically, we could do something like if we had Mocha and Chai hooked up, we could say result dot code to not be 1 or not equal 1. And then this should fail. So if I run this, let's see if it fails. I don't know because it's inside of a callback of diff.run, so it might not work. I may need to put a return in there. Let's see. Expect is not, oh, that's the other thing, is that expect isn't in there. Variable expect is equal to require chai. And then in here, I'm going to install chai. And let's run that one more time and try this out. Expected 1 to not equal 1. So it did fail, but it did say that our test is passing, even though we had an error. So I think the fact that it's inside of here caused it to have some issues. So I think that's what we're going to look at next time, or what at least I'm going to look at next time. Is there. And yeah, so if you have any questions on this or any other questions, feel free to send them my way. I don't know how the chat room works inside of Twitch TV, but in theory I would get the stream from there, or sorry, from the comments from there. Yeah, so I'll be back next week and we'll keep looking at WebdriverIO Screenshot, and possibly I might have some updates on this. We'll see how that goes. But thanks for watching, and see you next week. Bye.